When you look at a dog, just snoozing on a living room rug, you probably just see, well, a furry roommate.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
Just a pet taking a nap.
right. Maybe they're twitching their paws a bit, dreaming about a squirrel or whatever. But you certainly don't look at that sleeping dog and see a medieval hunting machine quietly calculating its next move.
It's so true. I mean, we tend to view the animals in our homes entirely through the lens of our own, modern, convenient lives.
Yeah, we just see the plush sofa they're sleeping on.
Right, the sofa or the shiny stainless steel water bowl in the kitchen. We really don't see the centuries of survival and the intense specialization that put them on that sofa in the first place.
But when you step into the world of the beagle, that modern illusion just completely shatters.
Oh, absolutely. It falls right apart.
Today, we are taking a deep dive into the historical and psychological blueprint of one of the most beloved and, honestly, often most misunderstood scent hounds in the
Yeah.
world.
They really are misunderstood, yeah.
We've got this fascinating, comprehensive guide from the Beagle Health Academy in front of us today. And our mission for this deep dive is to extract a really profound, practical roadmap for actually living with this incredible breed.
Because raising an extraordinary beagle, it's not about making one grand, perfect decision.
Right. It's about thousands of thoughtful choices made consistently across an entire lifetime.
Exactly.
Okay, let's unpack this
Yeah.
because it is just wildly cool to me that a dog's behavior today, like right now, sniffing the corner of your kitchen cabinet, is entirely scripted by centuries-old history.
It really is. And our goal today is to help you understand not just what beagles do, but why they do it.
The actual why behind the quirks.
Exactly. We want to connect their ancient past directly to the things you see in your house every single day. Because once you understand that historical blueprint, you stop fighting their nature.
Yeah, you can finally stop getting so frustrated.
Right, and you start working with these incredible instincts they bring to the table.
So to understand the beagle sitting next to you right now, we really have to rewind the clock. We're leaving the modern world and going all the way back to the misty, really dense hunting fields of medieval England.
That environment is literally the crucible where this breed was forged.
It's where it all started.
Yeah, everything about them, their physical build, their personality, their weird quirks, it all makes perfect sense when you picture that specific landscape.
Just a small, sturdy hound pushing through the thick brush.
Right, moving through the English countryside, nose completely glued to the ground, reading this completely invisible story. That hunting heritage is the direct biological cause of their extraordinary nose.
And we are just talking about a good sense of smell here, aren't we?
Not at all. I mean, a human has roughly 5 or 6 million scent receptors. A beagle has over 220 million.
220 million. That's just wild.
It's massive. And their olfactory, the part of the brain dedicated to processing smells, it's about 40 times larger than ours relative to total brain size.
40 times.
Yeah. It is an evolutionary masterpiece. It's designed to track a single degrading scent molecule over vast, muddy distances.
Wow. And they weren't just out there wandering around alone, were they? They were kept in large working packs.
Exactly. And that pack history is the underlying mechanism for their deeply social, really affectionate personality today.
Because they had to get along with everyone.
Right. Historically, to function on a hunt, they had to work seamlessly with dozens of other dogs and horses and humans. Any aggression or extreme shyness would make them a huge liability.
So they'd just be bred out.
Exactly. That genetic selection for extreme sociability is exactly why they make such beloved family companions right now. They are literally hardwired for community.
But, and I think we have to make a crucial distinction here, while they lived in packs, the actual mental work of following a scent trail was very often a solo endeavor, right?
Yes, that's a huge point.
So they were out ahead of the hunting party doing their own thing.
Precisely. The humans were often miles behind on foot or horseback. So for centuries, beagles had to figure out the trail entirely on their own.
They couldn't just wait for instructions.
Right. If they lost the scent of a hare, they couldn't turn around and wait for a human to give them a command. By then, the prey would escape. They had to problem solve, loop back, and make independent decisions all by themselves.
And that centuries-old requirement for solo trail following completely explains their famous independence.
Yes.
Which owners so often complain about. I mean,
Yeah.
I hear people call them stubborn all the time.
Oh, constantly. But I'd argue it isn't stubbornness at all. It's self-reliance.
Self-reliance. That's a great reframe.
Yeah, when your beagle ignores you because they are locked onto a scent, they aren't being spiteful, they are executing the exact software program they were bred to run.
They're just doing their job.
Exactly. You have to understand that independent streak and figure out how to collaborate with it rather than, constantly fighting against a trait they were literally designed to have.
It makes me think of an analogy. It's almost like the modern beagle is a piece of pristine vintage hardware trying to run modern software.
Oh, that's a really good way to put it.
Right. Because they are physically and psychologically built for medieval countryside hunting, but we're forcing them to navigate city parks and concrete sidewalks and carpeted living rooms. So is this historical mismatch the main reason owners end up so frustrated?
If you connect this to the bigger picture, absolutely. That mismatch is the root of almost every single behavioral issue.
Because expectations don't line up with reality.
Right. Owners get frustrated because they expect a modern plug-and-play companion, a dog that just wants to fetch a tennis ball and lay quietly at their feet.
Like a golden retriever or something.
Yeah, exactly. But the blueprint proves that behaviors like their relentless curiosity or their nose being vacuum sealed to the ground, they aren't just puppy phases that they will eventually outgrow.
They're permanent.
Yes, these are permanent, lifelong biological needs. The hardware simply hasn't changed.
So, if we have a dog in our living room that is hardwired for tracking and has the endurance to run literally all day, how do we practically manage those intense drives?
Well, that's the big challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, because we clearly can't all just go buy a medieval estate in England.
Sadly, no.
The information we are looking at pivots to a core philosophy here, and it's that lifelong success with this breed comes down to consistency, not perfection.
That is the secret right there. It's about the quiet accumulation of good daily habits, and the absolute most critical habit revolves around how we actually exercise them.
Okay, tell me more about that.
So for a beagle, a physically tired dog is just not enough. You can put them on a treadmill or run them for 3 miles, but if they haven't used their nose, their brain is still wide awake.
They're just physically exhausted but mentally bored.
Exactly. They aren't truly satisfied. Scent enrichment matters exactly as much as cardiovascular exercise.
Can you explain the mechanism there? Like, why does sniffing tire them out so much more than running?
Think back to that massive olfactory bulb in their brain we mentioned earlier. When a beagle is sniffing, they're essentially doing high-level math.
High-level math.
Yeah, they're processing wind direction, moisture levels, the age of the scent, what kind of animal left it.
Just tons of data.
Right. Pushing all that data through their brain requires massive amounts of glucose and oxygen. It is intense cognitive work for them. 15 minutes of deep, focused sniffing can tire a hound out more than a solid mile of fast jogging.
Wow. Which really means the traditional human idea of a dog walk is completely backwards for a beagle.
Oh, 100%.
We put on our sneakers, we want to march from point A to point B at this brisk, uninterrupted pace just to get our own steps in.
Yeah, we have an agenda.
Exactly. But to take a beagle on a fast walk where you drag them away every time they try to stop and sniff,
Right.
I mean, it's literally like taking a book lover into a massive, gorgeous library and blindfolding them.
That is a brilliant way to look at it. You are depriving them of the exact sensory input they use to process the world around them.
It's got to be so frustrating for the dog.
Very. So things like sniff walks where the dog actually dictates the pace and gets to linger on a fire hydrant for, 3 full minutes or scent games, or puzzle feeders. These are not optional extras. They're absolutely central to engaging the dog's mind.
And look, I get it. If you've ever stood on a neighborhood sidewalk in the freezing rain while your beagle sniffs the exact same blade of grass for 4 unbroken minutes, you probably felt like pulling your hair out.
Oh, everyone has been there.
But reframing it as cognitive work, that really helps.
It changes the entire dynamic. And this brings us to another major daily management issue tied directly to their history, which is their food drive.
Oh boy, the food drive.
Yeah, to do that all-day hunting job we talked about, they needed fuel.
Right, they were built to just eat whatever they could find to sustain a massive hunt.
Which means today, a beagle's appetite is a liar.
A liar. I love that.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
Their metabolism is adapted to store energy for an endless hunt that, in our modern world, just never actually comes.
So they always think they're prepping for a marathon.
Exactly. They will act like they are starving 24 hours a day. And because of that evolutionary programming, you absolutely cannot use their hunger as a gauge for how much to feed them.
And you probably can't just trust the back of the kibble bag either, right?
No, definitely not, because those charts are generalized, and a beagle's metabolism is incredibly efficient. Body condition is the only honest measure you have.
And how do we actually measure that? Because, digging through a thick coat of fur can be pretty tricky.
There is a very specific, simple, tactile tool for this. It takes maybe 60 seconds once a month. You do a hands-on rib check.
Okay, how does that work?
So if you make a fist with your hand and feel your knuckles, that's what a dog feels like when they are too skinny.
Okay, yeah, that's really bony.
Right. Now, if you feel the flat back of your hand, that's a healthy weight. You can feel the bones, but there's a slight padding over them.
Got it.
And if it feels like the fleshy base of your thumb down by the palm, they are overweight.
Oh, that's such a great trick.
Yeah, making that physical check a monthly habit is just crucial.
Okay, I have to push back a little here, or at least, play devil's advocate for a second.
Yeah.
You're saying their endless appetite is just a biological reality. But if I have a dog that acts like it's starving 24/7, that feels like an absolute nightmare for training.
It can definitely seem that way.
Right. You drop a crumb of cheese on the floor and they completely lose their mind. How is that not a massive problem?
What's fascinating here is that while this persistent food motivation can be incredibly dangerous for their waistline if you just give in to it, it is actually your greatest asset when properly channeled.
Really?
Yeah, because they want that food so badly, you have the ultimate currency.
Here's where it gets really interesting to me. Treating a beagle's food drive as a bug instead of a feature is just a massive missed opportunity.
Completely.
It's literally like having a video game cheat code for training and just refusing to use it because, I don't know, it feels like cheating.
That's exactly what it is. The instinct itself is not the problem. How it's managed makes all the difference.
Right.
If you have a dog that works for food, you can teach them almost anything. You can use their meals for enrichment. Instead of dumping kibble in a bowl where it's gone in 12 seconds, you hide it around the living room.
Make them hunt for it.
Exactly. You put it in puzzle toys. You are simultaneously satisfying their medieval hunting drive and their appetite, all while building a much stronger bond with them.
But because people misunderstand these core scent and food-driven needs, they fall victim to some really widespread misconceptions, don't they?
Oh, there are so many myths out there.
I mean, I hear people say all the time, oh, my beagle is 3 years old now. Surely they're going to calm down and stop keeping their nose glued to the floor. They really think it's just a puppy phase.
And that is completely false. That instinct never fades.
Never.
Never. It is woven into the DNA of the breed. The intensity of that desire to track a scent is identical in a 10-week-old puppy and a 10-year-old senior dog. The goal for an owner should never be to eliminate the sniffing. I mean, you couldn't even if you tried. The goal is to give it healthy, structured outlets so they don't go looking for trouble to satisfy it.
Which leads right into another assumption, that training basically ends after puppyhood. You teach them to sit, stay, potty outside, you check those boxes, and you're done.
Yeah, and that's a fundamental misunderstanding of an intelligent working breed. Training isn't a checklist you complete in the first 6 months.
That's a lifelong thing.
It's an ongoing dialogue. The most well-adjusted, calmest dogs are the ones whose owners keep teaching them new tricks, keep playing hide-and-seek with scents, and just keep engaging that mind for years.
What about when they get older, though? Because it breaks my heart a little when people assume their senior dogs just want to sleep all day and stop enjoying adventures.
The curiosity never fades. What happens is that the adventures just change shape.
How so?
Well, a senior beagle might need to go much slower. They might stay in the neighborhood instead of hiking a mountain. They might need a physical ramp to get into the back of your car instead of jumping.
Sure, they slow down physically.
But their desire to explore the world through their nose, to, read the morning news on the neighborhood fire hydrant that is just as strong on their last day as it was on their first.
That's actually really beautiful. And
Great.
clearing up those misconceptions reveals a really comforting truth about this breed.
It really does.
Raising an extraordinary beagle doesn't require these grand, dramatic gestures. You don't have to quit your job, buy a flock of sheep, and move to a farm in the countryside to make them happy.
No, not at all.
Instead, success relies entirely on quiet, unglamorous daily routines.
It's the stringing together of thousands of small choices across a decade. It starts with the very first choice, really doing the research to pick a responsible breeder.
Setting the right foundation.
Right. And then handling that first chaotic night at home with patience instead of frustration.
And the milestones you hit together aren't always these big cinematic moments either. They are really subtle victories.
Like what?
Well, like the first successful recall in a fenced yard. You call their name, and you actually see them tear their brain away from a scent trail to come running back to you for a treat.
Oh, that's a huge one.
Or using a long line for the first time.
Yes. The long line is such a vital tool.
Can you explain what that is for people who might not know?
Sure. A long line is essentially a 30 or 50-foot lightweight leash. You just clip it to a harness and let it drag on the ground.
So they feel like they're loose.
Exactly. It gives the dog the illusion of total freedom to sniff and roam, but you have an emergency brake if they catch the scent of a deer and try to bolt. Learning to trust your dog on a long line before you ever consider real off-leash freedom is a huge milestone.
Or, that first proper woodland walk where their nose is down, their little white-tipped tail is up like a flag, and they are completely absorbed in a world of smells that you can't even perceive.
It's amazing to watch.
It is. But alongside those beautiful milestones are the deeply mundane tasks. Right?
Yeah. The day-to-day maintenance.
Like taking 30 seconds to check their ears after a muddy walk because hounds are so prone to ear infections. Or taking a few minutes to brush their teeth after dinner.
Right. Or organizing their medical records so you aren't panicking during an emergency.
Yeah. So what does this all mean? When I look at this list of daily habits, the 60-second knuckle test for their ribs, the muddy ear check, the daily toothbrushing, it basically looks like compound interest in a savings account.
That is exactly what it is.
Right. It's completely unnoticeable on a random Tuesday. You don't see the payoff immediately. But it is massively life-saving over the course of 10 years. How does this reframe the way we view the whole concept of preventative care?
It's a total paradigm shift. We so often think of healthcare as a reactive thing, something we do when a dog gets sick. We wait for symptoms.
Yeah, we go to the vet when something's visibly wrong.
But this approach, it is a proactive architecture. By doing these small, quiet things every single day, you are building an incredibly detailed baseline of what is normal for your specific dog.
Ah, I see.
And the greatest advantage an owner can ever have is the ability to recognize subtle changes against that baseline.
You mean changes in things like their gait or how enthusiastically they eat their dinner?
Exactly. Or a slight shift in their energy level, or maybe a mood that seems just a fraction of a degree off-center.
You'd only notice that if you're paying attention every day.
Right, because you've been checking their ears, feeling their ribs, and watching them navigate the neighborhood on sniff walks every single day.
Yeah.
You notice instantly when something isn't right.
You catch it early.
Prepared, observant owners allow small medical issues to stay small. They catch the ear infection before it requires surgery. They catch the weight gain before it destroys the dog's joints.
That makes so much sense.
It's how a dog transitions seamlessly from annual checkups in their prime to twice-yearly senior wellness visits without a sudden, catastrophic drop in their quality of life. None of it is dramatic. All of it adds up.
It's ordinary moments becoming a lifetime.
Beautifully said.
I want to loop back to the image we started with at the top of the show. Today, you are far more likely to find a beagle investigating a discarded sandwich wrapper in a city park, or thoroughly sniffing the corner of your living room sofa than tracking a rabbit through the English undergrowth.
The landscape has changed entirely. The hardware is operating in a totally different environment.
But the dog hasn't changed. Their nose, their deep social curiosity, their sheer, undeniable determination to follow a trail to its conclusion, none of that has changed one bit.
Not at all.
Which means, as an owner, when you take them out for a quick bathroom walk, that should realistically take 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it ends up taking 30 minutes because there's simply too much information for them to process along the sidewalk. It's not an inconvenience.
No, it's really not.
It's not your dog misbehaving or being stubborn. It's the beagle doing exactly what it was born to do.
And that leads to a perspective shift that I think every dog owner can benefit from, regardless of what breed is sleeping on their rug.
What's that?
Well, if the beagle's nose and their ancient instincts haven't changed over the centuries, perhaps the ultimate challenge isn't forcing our dogs to adapt to our rushed, highly scheduled, chaotic modern world.
Oh, that's an interesting thought.
Instead, what if we asked how we might redesign our own modern routines? What if we learned to slow down, to actually observe our surroundings, and to better honor the ancient instincts of the animals we are so lucky to share our homes with?
Wow. A completely different way to look at the leash in your hand. Not as a chore you have to rush through, but as a real connection to history.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Take these insights into your next adventure, let your dog follow its nose, and remember, beneath that modern living room rug lies a medieval blueprint just waiting to be explored. Catch you next time.